Now let's bring you our latest news update. And Ghana's coronavirus case count is now 61 after 9 new cases were also confirmed. The Ghana Health Service COVID-19 dedicated website gives the breakdown as follows. All 9 were reported from Accra. 3 of them traveled to Ghana within the past 14 days from countries like Germany, France and Hungary, respectively. But for 6 of them, they have not recorded any travel history outside Ghana. Now, the Kumasi Center for Collaborative Research also reported on tests from 77 samples, including samples from some 41 asymptomatic contacts of a case from Tamale, and that is all from the teaching hospital there. All of them proved to be negative. Now brings up to total the numbers: 161 confirmed coronavirus cases in Ghana, including 5 deaths as of March 31, 2020 at 3 p.m. Now 3 of the confirmed cases so far have fully recovered and reverted to negative status for coronavirus after repeated tests following recovery from the symptoms. As at the end of March, additional 31 confirmed cases have significantly improved with no symptoms and have been discharged from admission for home care. And this is pending repetition of laboratory tests subsequently. This adds to 18 that were earlier being managed from home and brings the total number of cases on home care to 49 out of the total of the confirmed cases. Ghana Health Service is set to begin a house-to-house testing of suspected coronavirus carriers in high-risk communities in the Ashanti region especially. Authorities say this has become necessary after the region was declared one of Ghana's epicenters, following the death of 2 persons out of 9 confirmed cases so far. 284 people who came into contact with coronavirus patients have also been identified and are being managed. Ohemin Teria of the Health Desk has more in the following report.
Deputy Ashanti Regional Director in charge of Public Health, Dr. Ofori Yeboah, revealed all is set for health officials to pick samples for testing at the Kumasi Center for Collaborative Research at the KNUST.
Currently, there are 284 contacts that we are following. But to help us bring this infection to an end at a very short notice, we are going beyond following these 284 contacts. The key objective is to ensure that every single individual with the infection, whether the person is showing symptoms or not, we are able to identify these individuals and immediately put in measures to care for the affected individuals.
It forms part of active surveillance measures being implemented by the Directorate to control the spread of COVID-19.
The Ghana Health Service in Ashanti region has strategically identified certain locations. And those locations, we are going to move from house to house and identify individuals and offer them the COVID-19 test. So samples will be taken from these individuals and sent to KCCR at KNUST, where we analyze the samples.
Dr. Ofori Yeboah revealed all the necessary arrangements have been made, whilst equipment needed for the exercise has been procured.
As I speak to you, all the necessary things that we need for this exercise are in place. We have received significant quantities of personal protective equipment. We have laboratory teams in place, and we are also collaborating with members of the security agencies to support us in this process. Passes have been made available to officers to ensure that even in the midst of this restricted movement, our team members will be able to move freely to offer these very important services.
From Kumasi for Joy News, Ohimi Interior reporting.
Already, the Ghana Health Service is allaying fears among residents of Draso in the same region, that's the Ashanti region, over potential outbreak of coronavirus after a sub-chief died of the disease. Authorities would not disclose the name of the deceased for medical protocol reasons, though it is believed to be in reference to musician Obo's father's death, who is now known to be a public person. Now, my colleague Ohimi Interior of the Health Desk also has more in the following report.
Ashanti Regional Health Director Dr. Emmanuel Tinkran admits to late detection of the condition of the late chief of the town in the Asante Achim South municipality. He, however, indicates the situation has been brought under control, as 40 people said to have come into contact with him being traced and are in self-isolation. Dr. Tinkran says residents have no cause to worry as the affected persons are identified.
The incident that happened in Draso was unfortunate because the number of contacts are 40 and all of them are now under self-isolation. Unfortunately, we couldn't detect the case as early as possible, so there were so many contacts. But right now we've had a lot of support from the community, the district chief executive, the chief, and then the people. We've talked to all of them and they've agreed all of them are in self-isolation and we are monitoring them. But it's also a lesson to us so that everybody should try as much as possible to be part of the process.
According to Dr. Tinkran, the Draso incident comes as a lesson for health authorities and all others in the management of COVID-19. He recalled the late sub-chief returned to Draso to celebrate Akwasi Day after visiting his children abroad. Dr. Tinkran says the late chief's life could have been saved if those around him had managed his case properly.
He's an old man who traveled outside the country to visit his children. He came to his community for Akwasi Day and then was with his people. And then he started having signs and symptoms, fever, general malaise, and other things. And then he was being managed like malaria and other things. See? But one thing is that with the travel history and then the signs and symptoms, at least it should have alerted somebody that most probably this person would have been a suspected case. It wasn't the case until the situation was getting worse. The children picked him to Accra, ended up at Ridge Hospital, and even in Ridge Hospital, the history wasn't very clear. It didn't come out, and for that reason, he was managed at emergency instead of isolation. Yes, it's a learning process that we are all going through. Maybe those people around him, they didn't manage the case as early as possible. Yes, because see, those who are aged, when they have the signs and symptoms, it's always very, very severe, and they lose their lives. See, so maybe early detection could have saved him.
From Kumasi for Joy News, Ohimi Interior reporting.
The Ashanti Regional Director of Health Services is also asking security agencies to step up the enforcement of the lockdown measures to ensure strict compliance. Dr. Emmanuel Tinkran currently is unhappy that despite all the admonition, some recalcitrant residents of the capital of the Ashanti region continue to flout the measures and the guidelines with impunity. He wants the security agencies to be tough on people who breach the protocols. Dr. Tinkran has been speaking again to Ohimi Interior.
We've seen what is happening right now. You will see that people have been advised to stay home. They wake up in the morning and then they come and sit at some maybe stations, some of them roadsides in a group. Sometimes I wonder whether they understand what they are doing, because we are talking about social distancing. So people are not observing some of these rules and regulations. And we are in a very difficult situation in the sense that people can get infected. And when you get infected, then you make our work very difficult because you transmit the infection from one person to the other. So we are making sure that in order not somebody to get infected, the security agencies should help us. They should apply the rules. If there's a need even to go to court to prosecute people, they should do it, because we need to learn some few examples so that people will know that we are really serious. The truth is that this situation that we are dealing with is unprecedented in the whole world. Never in the history of this world that we've seen almost a whole world, every country is being locked down. So it means that this is not a joke, and this is not a time to joke at all. So people who think that they can be jokers and then do the usual routine things, the system should deal with them so that we can save others who are committed. And this is exactly the message that we want to carry along. And I believe that it will help all of us. Let's enforce all the laws. And I believe that that should be the key. So that's the reason why I'm telling the security agencies to try and up their game.
What we want to do next is also acquaint you with what the relevant figures are for coronavirus infections across the world. We'll go to the various subcontinents of the world, and then we'll zoom into Africa and right to Ghana. And total number of cases worldwide, all indicated there, 860,000 and counting. China has stalled on its number of counts so far, and interestingly, China has now moved to number 4. Used to be number 1 about a month ago, and the cases were streaming so fast in China, the epicenter being Wuhan and the Hubei province, a province of about 11 million people. So far, China has stalled that rate of infection. It looks like the factories have bounced back. They are now number 4, and it looks like they'll go down further. Topping the charts, though, even though it's an unfortunate situation, we still have to give you the update. Is the United States of America reeling from it? Over 800 people have died in the United States of America alone in the last 24 hours of coronavirus. That's how serious it is for the United States of America. And they have the number of cases being 189,000, followed by Italy with 105,000, and then Spain with 95,000. China still pegged at 82,000. Now, it will be quite important to note that over the last 1 month, the growth figures have only been pegged at 2,200 in China since they hit the 80,000 mark. Germany is following closely with 71,000. France, 52,000. Iran has 44,000. The United Kingdom has 25,000, 1,000 deaths so far recorded. And then we do have 16,000 for Switzerland, which is also under lockdown, has been 2 weeks and over. Turkey is following closely, 13,000. Belgium, 12,000. And the Netherlands also has the same 12,600. 10,000 is the number for Austria. 9,807. It will also be interesting to note that South Korea, which has 9,800 cases, was also one of the top infected countries about a month ago, but it looks like they seem to have stemmed the tide when it comes to the infection. Now, let's come to what the maps are saying. Where we have the infection rates now and where we have today is North America. North America, of course, Canada, which is at the top, which is very dark, but with the red spot you can't find, has a number of the cases so far. Let's go to North America. So you find the spots all, let's go closer. As we go closer, you find that the spots in North America are big. Now, okay, can we slow it down? Okay, good. New York, epicenter in the United States of America. Philadelphia, Boston, Massachusetts, Albany, all those areas. Then you have Atlanta. You go up, you have Chicago, Milwaukee, Detroit, Cleveland, and all these are all areas that if you live there, you need to be very careful. Look, the United States is all red, according to this. Now, let's now go to Europe. And if you go to Europe, you will find, you go to Europe, so we go to Europe. And if you go to Europe, you also get to find that we have some relevant cases. Even though in Canada, we have Ontario, Quebec, all recording some cases. Newfoundland and Labrador, but it is Europe that we have to focus on. And if you get to Europe, look, you zoom in a little just on top of Africa, that's okay. You have Warsaw, that is in Poland. Then you have Kiev, Ukraine, Minsk in Belarus. Even though they have their league ongoing, that's the Belarusian Football League ongoing, they've now recorded some minute cases. That should be a concern, and I'm sure the football authorities there will quickly try and put that league on hold. But it is France that they have the cases. Italy is stopping in Europe, and then you have sports in Romania, Greece, Portugal, Spain, and then the United Kingdom. Well, as it is. Now, let's go down. Let's go down. In Africa, the cases started in Egypt. No, relax. So the cases started in Egypt. You have Algeria, and then we had Sub-Saharan Africa subsequently recording the cases in Nigeria, Senegal, etc. Now, all of us seem to be in the middle of all this. Look, you go south, South Africa, that's where we have the highest of the cases so far. So you see that the sport is big, very huge, and the numbers are huge as well. And we'll tell you that's why they are under lockdown, and we are too. But we have daily tips, and today we'll bring you this, and it's with some sponsors and association. We'll tell you about all of them soon after you watch this. Oh, Mama V is here. We have to do all the latest updates with a few newspapers we have. We've been going lean so far, but, well, giving you more content when it comes to coronavirus updates. And Mama V.
Yeah, good morning, Roland. If you're just tuning in, well, this is the AM show. You missed the news, but you made it in good time for the newspapers. We'll also do the online review. We've got the myjoyonline.com. We'll do the BBC. We'll do the CNN as well. So let's begin with the Daily Graphic newspaper. I have the Graphic. I'll do the Times and the New Crusader Guide. So there are people who are taking, some of the print houses have taken a break, but certainly not the Graphic, not the Times, and not the Crusader Guide. So let's start with the Daily Graphic newspaper. Front page, Veronica Bucket inventor seeks government support for patenting. That story is in the paper today. UBA Ghana gives 1,925,000 Ghana cedis to COVID-19 fund. Virtual learning on TV begins April 3rd. And it comes with a picture of the Ghana Education Service boss, Professor Opoku Amankwa, the Director General. 49 COVID-19 patients treated and discharged. Also enforcing restrictions on movement, security scales up operations, additional checkpoints mounted. So it's getting tighter and tighter with security, especially when some people are making fun of the whole concept. I mean, this is not a joke. It's not cool to say that, oh, you just got out to see what the security people would do.
Mama V, yesterday I had a whole argument before I went to sleep on my old school page with a friend of mine, arguing that people were being brutalized, etc. I said, yeah, the excesses may be there, but we also need to know that people are not adhering to the guidelines, because lockdown is lockdown. Whether you call it partial or whatever, they say stay in your home area, stay in your home. And people have refused to stay in their home. Yeah. And I have to say that yesterday, I found out that they were inspecting the ID cards before they allowed people to move.
Yeah, exactly. But that's no license really to heckle people and abuse people as well, because you're there to enforce the law. Remember, you're not the law. Well, so if people are seen breaching, that's why we have, we prepared for this, didn't we? We did prepare for it. And I have had certain reports. I guess when we settle down and we go into the issues a bit later on, especially with that briefing that's also coming up, that there are people who are complaining that even with the ID cards, they're still heckled and not made to go to their workplaces. Some people, particularly on the Spintex Road, some reports coming through yesterday. I mean, it's no excuse to beat someone. People may be excited, but that's against the law. They are not the law, Roland Walker. Let's do the back page of the Daily Graphic newspaper. Police search for escaped COVID-19 patients. That security operatives in Tamale have intensified their search for a COVID-19 patient who escaped from the hotel where she had been quarantined. The escapee, a Guinean woman believed to be about 21 years, was among 10 people from Guinea and Burkina Faso who tested positive on March 24 and were on a 14-day mandatory quarantine at the hotel where they were lodging. Also, 76 Kaya intercepted for flouting directive offered accommodation. If you've been following the news, you know that the minority is not particularly happy about the fact that they were returned. But we've heard from the Deputy Health Minister, Alexander Aban, who says he's received assurances from the Gender Minister that they are going to be catered for. In the center spread, Vice President launches online scholarship application system. Foodstuff sellers, food vendors record low patronage, and it brings into mind a conversation that we'll be having here on the show from 7:30 a.m. So we all got a lot of food stuff before the lockdown. Is it going bad already? Do you know how to store? And did you buy beans, yam, plantain, rice, the usual suspect, right? And you've been cooking them the same way. Do you want fresh ideas? What else you could do with rice apart from rice balls, jollof, and plain rice? Something else you could do with plantain, for instance? Well, we have a great conversation on our show. Just so, you know, don't be bored at home. Try something different with the regular, apart from the regular foods that we all eat. So that'll be an interesting conversation to come after AM Business on our show. So let's do the New Crusading Guide newspaper. Front page of the New Crusading Guide. Brian Champong fights off allegations of land grabbing. He suspects someone wants to tarnish chiefs and his own image. Ghana Scholarship goes online for all applications. Tension in Achim and Yenem as a youth group unduly takes over mining concession. And then on COVID-19, Ghana records 31 new recoveries. Cocoa Board supports COVID-19 fund is also another headline there on the front page of the paper. And ADB commits 1 million Ghana cedis to COVID-19. The last paper I'll do will be the Ghanaian Times newspaper. Front page of the Ghanaian Times, police arrest dozens over breach of lockdown directive. That's what we expect them to do, arrest them and not abuse them. 31 out of 161 COVID-19 patients recover and discharged. Tema police deploy 330 security personnel for partial lockdown. Police military show of force as they step up operations against lockdown defiance. On the back page of the paper, don't aid travelers into Ghana. That's a plea from the Ho Member of Parliament, Ho Central, Benjamin Podo. He's called on the constituents to renew their sense of nationalism and fiercely fight the activities of human traffickers in some border communities who were still aiding some travelers to enter Ghana through unapproved routes. Some principal street markets in Accra relatively clean, and there's a joke around if we want to make Accra, is it Accra, the cleanest city? It's a good time to do it now because the place is virtually
I saw a post yesterday
deserted,
which was indicating that this is the time that we have to engage Zoomlion and the rest of waste management experts or service providers to clean Accra, and I agree. And before we go,
you agree?
Yeah.
Well, what's the point? I mean, the people will come back.
Well, then we can do a full lockdown after we have finished. We have finished with the lockdown. And if I can get your permission, perhaps before we close the show, we can show the pictures of Accra.
We will. Gershon is with Adum Online. He captured some beautiful photos yesterday of some of the very significant places in the Greater Accra region. We'll show it to you. We will. Yeah, Roland, I'm done.
Oh, you're done?
Yes, sir.
Just got ahead of myself. But in the meantime, let me just show you what the front page of the new publisher is. Just show you so that we can have some time and do some other relevant things. We'll get all those pictures downloaded on the page for you, and Mamavi will take you through some sites already. She always has those sites looking out for coronavirus cases around the world. I don't know why she doesn't sleep. So I'm sure she's looking at some websites. But this is the front page of the new publisher. It's about COVID-19 girl running away day 3 of lockdown directive. We're talking about beatings galore, and then as soldiers' corps descend on civilians, also a worry. So if we also can get the permission of Mamavi, we'll show you some pictures allegedly of some beatings at the hands of security personnel, but we'll also show you a statement from the army, the military, which is indicating that, look, you guys chill out. We really have done nothing so far, so relax. Let's see how it goes. Well, we'll see how all these also come into play when it comes to the discussions on abuses. And my opinion doesn't matter. It's a personal opinion, so I'll leave it at that. But you ask people to make sure that they get to the point where you stick to regulations, and people just don't stick to regulations. We'll see how it goes. All right. It looks like ONWMA intensifies COVID-19 fight. We love acronyms in Ghana, so I'll go to page 13 to get to know what ONWA is. Page 13, and it says the accolade is Okankwe North Municipal Assembly. So ONMA, okay, ONMA, and they have their chief executive as Boylai receiving. But in Nigeria, I was also told that a student has died of coronavirus following the outbreak. And it's weeks before he was set to graduate at the Western Michigan University. Oh, okay. So he died in America, really. And a Nigerian-American student, Bassi Ofiong, died from coronavirus after being refused a test several times in Michigan. And the Punch gathered that the deceased is a 25-year-old college student studying chemical engineering at the Michigan-based university. Very sad reality of the times. Well, and Mamavi, what do we have to relevantly also take a look at? But we'll also show you the related things that are happening when it comes to the national disinfection exercise. It's in northern Ghana. We'll take you to the upper east and west region. Albert Sorry is on standby to give us the latest. And as we're there, we'll also look at myjoyonline.com.
Now, health experts are advising people to stay at home as much as they can to slow the spread of the coronavirus. Indeed, those of us in Accra, Tema, Kaswa, and Kumasi are under lockdown. But obviously, before the lockdown, you bought the usual food stuff. You grabbed some yam, rice, plantain, cassava, beans, you name it. Question is, are you preparing it the same way that you have always done? What if we could explore what recipes you can prepare from the raw foods you bought for the lockdown? And whilst at it, we'll also show you a few packaging ideas too, so your foodstuffs don't go bad. My guest is a nurse. She's a public health practitioner and a family and consumer scientist. Bernice Ofosu is my guest. She's joining us via Skype. Good morning to you. Thank you for making it.
Thank you.
Okay, great. So shall we start with the preservation?
Yeah, sure. So I'm sure in this period of COVID, people grab things like you said, and for 2 weeks, you don't know how to prepare how to preserve it. And if you are not careful, whatever you've grabbed may go bad. It either be infected by insects. You bought a lot of beans and you didn't check. It may either go bad if you bought fruit. The yam can get so soft. The plantain can get overripe. The cassava can be hard and discolored. The vegetables like the contomere might lose its crispiness. The pepper might go bad. The fruits might become oversoft. The egg might be flat and washy and have foul smell. Your bread might be moldy. Your fishes might be go off flavor. And your flour might also be having the insects as well. So most importantly, you are trying to prevent your food from going bad. So for cereals, when it comes to preservation, you have to remove all the grains that are unfit. So if you check, for instance, the maize, you should check the ones that have insects in it and remove it from the lot. If you have fruit, you have to check the ones that are fresh and put it aside from the ones that are going bad. Even tomatoes, you have to check the ones that are fresh and the ones that are soft. If you get cassava, you have to check whether there are some parts that are hard and unfit, then you cut it off. If you get yam, there are some times when the yam is very soft, but some parts are okay. So you've already purchased it. So you can cut the good side and keep and throw the soft side away. Same with oranges and the like.
Okay. All right.
So when it comes to storage.
Yes, let's go into storage. And I picked a few things from your Facebook posts. So we're going to slap that on the screen and get people to follow. So let's go.
Okay, great.
So do we start with the tomatoes?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So with the tomatoes, like you all know, it can easily go bad. So you have to make a decision, like I said, separate the soft ones from the hard ones. Yes, and most importantly, just wash it and remove the leafy part of it, the top part of it, and wash it well because microorganisms can make it go bad. Again, you don't just put the washed tomato in the freezer or fridge because that can also make it go bad. The moisture around the tomato can make it go bad. So you can arrange the tomatoes on a napkin, absorbent napkin. So you drain the water from it, and you get an airtight container like you have on the street, and you pack them into it. If you know you are going to use it for a short time, let's say a week, and you have a good chilling temperature in your fridge, you can keep it in your fridge. But we don't know how long the long lockdown is going to be like. So if you envisage it's going to be longer and you want a lot of it, you can put the same rubber with the tomato in your deep freezer. It should be deep freezer, not the surface. It might become soft, and then you might lose the quality of them.
Okay. All right. So from the tomatoes, we move to which other one? Hello, Bernice. So from tomatoes. Okay, great. So
from tomato, one most important thing people worry about is the boiled yam. And unfortunately, you put it down and it's getting spoiled.
Yes.
You start cutting it, put the fruit is getting brown. So what can you do? So if you have a good chilling temperature in your fridge, you can just keep it in the wrapper and put it beneath, down there in the fridge. But if you think you don't have a good chilling capacity, just cut the yam. But before you cut it, make sure you have water available because the yam will be browning very quickly. So peel it as fast as you can, cut them into your desired pieces, put the yam quickly in the water, make sure that the water is covering the yam, and wash it as much as you can so that the chemical substance that make it brown can go down. And then you finally wash it with water. So what you can see on the screen is something like this. I kept it in the fridge for 2 weeks. I was coming to cook it. So this is frozen yam. But most importantly, before you cook it, make sure that your hot water is ready on the fire because it gets soggy when you just take it, put it in cold water for it to go. So that's for yam.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've done tomatoes, we've done yam.
Yeah.
All right.
And then bread.
Okay, let's talk about the bread. I got 10 pieces sitting in my deep freezer, but I didn't cut them out.
Yeah, so that's the challenge there. So it means you have to bring all out. That is if it's not cut into pieces, and let it thaw and cut your parts and put it back. Yeah, so like you can see on the screen, just cut it into pieces if you don't have the luxury of an already cut bread. And because bread goes dry very fast, you can put it in a Ziploc or any airtight wrapper, as airtight as possible, because you want to keep it fresh with the moisture. So when you are ready to use, just pick one. You can put it down to thaw, or you can put it in your fridge to thaw.
Okay.
And then you can heat it, you can toast it, you can add your egg or whatever you want to.
Okay, great. Let's talk about almighty beans now, Bernice.
Yes, so the beans, like you all know, sometimes get infested with insects. So the first thing you'd have to do when you get back from the market is to select the perfect ones from the bad ones. Remove the infested beans, because if you keep all together, they will infest the other ones. So when you are done, just look for a clear container and put them in it. Dry.
The bottle, the one in
clean.
the bottle.
Yes, the bottle. It should be, the container should be dry. It should be clean. Because as much as possible, you are trying to reduce moisture from destroying it, and you are trying to reduce the insects from infecting it. So that is it for the beans.
I think we're late in doing that. We're going to show our viewers how it looks like in terms of what you've just described. The beans in the bottle, so you can store it properly after separating the bad ones. All right. Unfortunately, we don't have a picture of that. We don't have a picture of that. Okay, so we can talk about the granules.
Yeah. So granules, like we see it, can be flat and will not be crispy. So again, you are interested in removing the insects from it. So for lockdown, you can decide to put it in salt water, and then you can roast it. Again, you can have peanut butter. That's the second option. And then you can roast, and then you can mill it. And again, keep it in clean, dry containers. As much as possible, temperature and moisture destroy food. So keep it in clean, dry containers.
Okay.
Yeah, so like you can see there, you have your milled granules and you have your roasted, which you can use for a variety of food.
Great. So how long do you keep the pastes for?
So for the paste, if you did it well, it should have a shelf life about a month. Good quality, because as it stays, the shelf life reduces. So if you kept it in a good container, you are likely to have it stay longer.
Okay.
If you kept it in a container with water, then you should be expecting your granules to be going rancid or having started over time.
All right. Okay, so now this is a part that I guess a lot of people are waiting to hear. What else do you do with the regular foodstuffs that we all grabbed before the lockdown? What else can you do with your rice, with the yam, with the plantain?
Yeah. So like I was saying earlier, people get bored easily. Even staying at home, you get bored. Can you imagine eating the same food over and over again? So you have to be creative, you have to be innovative. Identify the various foods you have at hand. Decide on the stew you want to prepare. So if you even have tomato, look at the accompaniment you have. Do you have fish? Do you have chicken? Do you have pork? Do you have herrings? Do you have just granite? Okay, so from the stew, if you have fish, you can fry it, you can smoke it, you can grill, you can bake, you can do a straight stew with fish like fanti. If you have chicken, again, you can fry it in whole. You can cut it into chunks. But the most important thing is, as you are preparing your stew, you have to be very creative. At the point, you can decide that I'm going to let the onions fry a lot more than the other. I'm going to use pakoshito in this. I'm going to use long chilies in this. I'm going to use ojekma in this. I'm going to use garlic in this, just to change the taste so you don't get bored.
Okay.
And when it comes to onions, like I said, you can fry it more or you can fry it less. You can decide to use tuna. You can decide to use salmon. You can decide to use meat. You can decide to use goat, pork. You can do bean stew. And that's for the stew.
Okay.
So when it comes to the soup, you can do live soup. You can do meat. You can do goat. You can do fresh fish. If you have smoked fish, you use it. And even the smoked fish, you can have sea smoke. You can have river smoke. You can have fried fish soup. You can have okra soup. With the okra, you can even have dried okra soup, or you can have fresh okra soup. You can do dried fish, just dried fish soup. You can decide to do rare. Those small, tiny things you've already procured at this point.
Okay.
You can decide to use meals. You can use dried fish again. You can do your granules. With the granule soup, you can create it.
Okay.
At a point, you use salmon. At a point, you use tuna. At a point, you use tofu.
So I guess what I hear you say, Bernice, is don't mix all the meats or the fish. Like, don't put everything. So you can do just chicken, granules,
Exactly.
and then do something else another time instead of mixing all together in the same bowl.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. Because you'll be eating the same soup over and over again. And you get bored easy.
Okay.
So when it comes to the cereals, you can decide on what you have. If you have rice, if you have the grains, just separate it. You should have two main blocks. You should have the breakfast and you should have the lunch and supper block. So just itemize it, right? What can I get for breakfast? How can I use rice to make breakfast? So you can think of the rice water, you can think of the roasted rice, milled rice water, you can think of the just plain milled rice water, a variety of them. When you come to the lunch with the rice, you can think of your mocho, you can think of the fried rice, you can think of jollof, you can even the jollof. You can be using fish today, you can be using smoked fish today, you can be using grilled fish today. Just be creative.
Okay.
And you can do same with lunch.
Okay.
But remember that you have limited. So if you eat heavy breakfast, heavy lunch, you can go light with the potatoes and some fried fish or some orange juice. Yeah.
Okay.
So just to remind everyone, as you're home, think of the variety of food, think of the variety of food, think of how you can split your variety of breakfast and lunch and supper. List all you can cook with them. And then most importantly, have a meal plan. So for me, I have something like this. After doing my list, my long list, I have my breakfast, I have my lunch, I have my supper. And I can pick from the list and decide on what I want to do so I don't get bored.
So
And then most importantly, don't forget your fruit. The fruit is very important.
Okay. So
And then,
yeah, so I was just saying, so at this time, have a timetable.
yeah,
Definitely have a menu. Okay. All right, great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then it's one thing I want to chip in. So in all this, you're trying to preserve your food. But if your refrigerator is very dirty, you're likely to infest your food and it will go bad. So try as much as possible, at least once in a week, clean your refrigerator. Once in a week, decongest your deep freezer and make sure that you arrange the thing properly. First in, first out. The ones you put it in should be the ones you eat first.
Okay.
And then you defrost your food in the refrigerator if you are not ready. For instance, you prepare breakfast and then you want to eat lunch. You can pick the lunch and put in your refrigerator so that it thaws naturally. And then you don't have to point. So that is what I have to say for now.
Okay, Bernice. So first in, first out.
First out.
Okay. All right. And I see you're also asking that, so put it in smaller bowls so that you're not removing the whole thing from the fridge, but only the one that you're consuming at a time.
Exactly. And one other important thing is just to aid your first in, first out, label it with a date if it's possible. Then you can be able to know, I put this one in first, let me remove it first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Any other thing that you want to explore with us? On the foods.
Yeah. Yeah, so we have egg here.
Okay.
We can also easily get boiled with eggs. So for breakfast, you can decide that I'm going to have a scrambled egg. I'm going to have a poached. Poached is like just breaking it gently and putting it in boiling water and allowing it to cook. You can decide to fry it. Just be creative. Just be innovative. Have a meal plan. And also think that you are with a family. That is if you are with a family. Get their input so that you don't cook their foods and then you don't have to eat it alone.
Okay.
So if you have kids, you have to ask them of their opinion. What do you think of this? You are going to have lunch, you are going to have salad, you have to have people with. Do you like it? And then let everyone bring their idea of food to prepare your meal plan.
Okay. We've just put the idea of the plantain on the screen. So quickly run us through.
So with the plantain, like you can see on the screen, we have unripe and we have very ripe. And this aids you to have a variety of food. So from the unripe, we can go full, we can do plantain chips. You can do fried plantain when it's getting ripe. You can do a kelewele with granite. Even with the kelewele, you can decide that today I'm putting pepper. Tomorrow I'm not putting pepper. You can do a tall with granite. You can bake it with the farm, add some herring, and you have a balanced meal. You can have some pepper in it just to balance it. And you can boil the plantain when it's halfway, right? And you can eat it with garden egg stew, consomme stew, egg stew, all your stews and even your soups.
Okay.
So so be creative, just be open, because people easily get bored in the same food.
Okay.
So keep your family happy. Help them to stay at home. Don't let them get bored going to buy Hausa cocoa from the street or going to buy Makoko from the street. Be creative. Have Hausa cocoa for breakfast. You have tea and bread. You have loaves. You have what's the name they call it? Tom Brown. You can have the broken cereals. I mean the maize. Yeah.
Okay.
And then you cook it.
Okay.
That kind of thing.
All right.
Yeah.
Bernice, I want to say thank you for your help today. But this is what we're going to do. You have to share your menu with me because I know a lot of people will be asking. You have to share that menu with me so I can share it with everybody else watching us today. But we'll definitely get in touch again.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much.
I'm happy to share my menu.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. And please keep safe.
I want people to stay at home.
All right, great. That's wonderful. Thank you. Thanks a lot. That's our public health practitioner who's been so grateful, helping us with some tips on what else to do with the foods that you have bought. We will touch base with her again. I see your questions coming through. We will touch on that. But let's quickly go to Rafiq Salam, who is in Wa, reporting on the disinfection exercise. Rafiq, what can you report? Where exactly are you?
Our market, and then that is where the disinfection exercise started this morning. And so as many as 338 sprayers drawn from Zoom Lion Ghana Limited, a subsidiary of Jospon companies, they are right here. the Upper West Regional Minister, ably supported by the Mayor of Wa, Alhaji Saku Tahiru, and also a host of commanders from the Regional Security Council right here supporting the minister. So I can also report to you that the market is virtually empty. Today, being the Wa market, you will have seen sea of people right at the Wa market, but it's not the case. And so I will say, with the exception of the people who are doing the disinfection exercise, I will tell you that the market is like a ghost town. You can only see some dozen of taxis that are parked around. So that's the situation at the Wa market.
All right, Rafiq Salam, Rafiq, you did indicate that there was an opening before the exercise itself where the minister spoke. What did he exactly say?
What is really happening is that the minister this morning around 6 a.m. He met the people who were going to embark on the disinfection exercise, particularly from the Zoom Lion Gun Limited, and also the various commanders who were present. He spoke about the exercise. In the Upper West region here, they are doing about 110 markets in the Upper West region. And also they have also added some few places like the industrial area, talking about the Wa magazine. And so in the Wa municipality, they will do about 6-7 markets, and then from there, they will move to the other areas. And so this exercise is going to take place in all the 11 municipal and districts in the Upper West region. So the address of the minister tilted or hinged on what the exercise is all about, and also what they are going to look at as far as the exercise is concerned. And then also, like I told you, that it's 338 sprayers who are going to be involved in that exercise, and the exercise is taking place in all 11 municipal and districts in the Upper West region. And so the minister also appealed to people to cooperate with the people who will be doing the exercise because today there's no market. The Wa market is not going to be open, and so after the exercise, and then tomorrow or tomorrow next, they can come back to the market and do their normal business.
Rafiq, describe where you are now and what's happening so that we can understand what we see on the screen. Hello, Rafiq. I'm afraid we've lost Rafiq Salam, but he's our correspondent reporting for us on the disinfection exercise. Another colleague is Albert Sori, who's also reporting on this disinfection exercise. We'll also take you to the Ministry of Information, where there is a briefing scheduled to happen this morning. My colleague and head of our health desk, Fred Smith, is on that beat for us. We'll bring you that press briefing also live here on the AM show and of course on Joy News. So a few things happening live around the disinfection exercise and also a press briefing on the coronavirus pandemic. That exercise is at the Ministry of Information, and Fred Smith will be reporting for us. We'll be connecting with him shortly here on our show. Please stay with us.
And thank you for joining us here at the Ministry of Information for a quick update this morning on the COVID-19 response program that the Republic of Ghana is currently embarking upon. This morning's brief will be in five parts. First, we want to give a quick update on the heightened enforcement of the stay-at-home orders. It's been about some 55.5 hours since the stay-at-home orders kicked in, or the restrictions, properly so-called, kicked in. We want to give a quick update. The Joint Operations Command that is handling it has asked Brigadier General A.Y. Nsia, General Officer Commanding Headquarters Southern Command in Kweshi here in Accra, to join us with a quick update on compliance and enforcement on that. We'll get into that. We have also announced that we're embarking on what we call an enhanced testing program, an enhanced testing program. And we are noticing that down the value chain, it is being interpreted in some quarters as compulsory testing and related matters. We want to provide some clarification on what this enhanced testing program is. There are also concerns about providing for the homeless and the vulnerable at this point in time, especially when in about 40 MMDAs we have imposed restrictions. How are we providing for the homeless and the vulnerable? We have some answers to provide on that. The government of Ghana is also rolling out a COVID-19 information contact center to make it easier for flow of information also at the retail level. And I'll give you some more details on that. And then finally, if you are paying attention to our official website that we're using for this purpose, the Ghana Health Service website, you'll notice that we are providing some further nuancing or further details in terms of the information we put out there. So the 161 updated us at last night. You'll find that there's a deeper detail and would explain why we are providing some more details in that regard. It's been about 55 hours since the imposition of restrictions on movement in about 40 MMDAs in the Greater Accra and Greater Kumasi areas. The restrictions were imposed for two main purposes. One, to slow down or to halt a potential community spread, to slow it down or to halt it. Two, and more importantly, to embark on an enhanced testing program. The restrictions are being enforced by a joint police-military operation, and this morning, about 55 hours into it, I'm sure you have come across a number of specific narratives in the mass media and on social media about compliance and enforcement. It is, however, important also to give you the bird's eye view, the big picture of compliance and enforcement beyond some of the specifics that you may have seen on television or on social media. I want to invite Brigadier General A.Y. Insia, General Officer Commanding, Headquarters, Southern Command, Kweshi Ridge, Accra, to give us a quick update on that one. Brigadier General, please join us. And please use our sanitizers, etc., before you start and when you are done.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister for Information, Honorable Kojo Oppong Nkrumah, who is my learned colleague. We were both called to the bar on the same day. My fellow Ghanaians, it is my pleasure and honor to come to your home this morning to give an update of our deployment to ensure the compliance of the directive, that is to ensure that we minimize the spread of this pandemic. First of all, I want to say that so far, so good. We are achieving the objective that we set for ourselves. Generally, our population is complying. Of course, in every situation, when it begins, people may not understand what it is. So obviously, some few of them might fall victim to the law. And we are trying our best to make sure everybody understands why this restriction have been imposed. First of all, I will say that Accra have been put into zones, and we have forward operating bases where we have positioned our soldiers and the police. We have various checkpoints to ensure that those who do not need to come out stay at home. The checkpoints have been very effective. We have several of them. I do not need to go into details about them. They are doing their job both day and night. We have static points at certain places. We have patrols at certain points. There are other areas that we have some challenge because the population there are not cooperating. But I can assure you, as at this morning, everybody understands. And situation is gone to the level that we expect. My expectation is that by tomorrow morning, you have less vehicles and less human beings on the roads. That one I can assure you, because the measures we put in place is very effective. I must also emphasize that some videos is gone viral concerning some brutalities being meted out by some soldiers to some civilians. Let me assure my fellow Ghanaians that the soldiers that you have are well trained, they are professionals, they don't brutalize. We have deployed close to 1,000 soldiers in the field. Out of this number, we have had only one incident, and that incident had nothing to do with slapping. It is something that we thought is not of our standard, and that we are dealing with it. That soldier involved presently have been withdrawn back to the barracks, and I have tasked the military police to go into the matter and investigate. So all the videos you are seeing, they are false. I do not know the intention behind it. But whatever it is, be assured that your soldiers are professionals. They don't brutalize. We don't allow it, and we are never going to allow it. I go around myself and educate them. Before the deployment, I tasked the head of the legal department of the Ghana Army to go to the centers where we camp them before we deploy them to town. 4 different centers, 1 in Bema, 2 in Bema Camp, Arakan, and then Gonda Barracks, then 1 in Weji Barracks, then 1 in Michel Camp. He went around and educated them about our rules of engagement, because it's very key to us. I personally went around myself. The commanding officers also spoke to them. So it is never true that our soldiers have been brutalizing our Ghanaians. We will not do it. We those in command will not permit it. I want to emphasize that most of us Ghanaians are religious. We are either Christians or Muslims or traditional religious worshippers. And we know that telling lies about somebody is something that God does not permit. So those who are doing it, I don't know what your agenda is. Please, God does not permit what you are doing. Stop it. And let's encourage our officers and men in the field. Let's encourage them to do the job and do it well. I have got tremendous support from some of the MCEs. They assisted me to get the forward operating bases, and they visit the soldiers regularly. These are the sort of collaboration we want from you Ghanaians. Not the type of thing you put on the social media to run us down, to discourage the soldiers who are doing their best to ensure that we all prevent or curtail the spread of this pandemic. Let us support the soldiers in the field. It is in our own interest that we support them. Honorable Minister, thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Brigadier General, for that quick update. Says generally there is compliance. They are also ramping up their enforcement. He admits that there at least has been one incident, which is true, of an infraction by a uniformed person. That person has been withdrawn from the operation, and they are investigating and dealing with it. Later this morning, we will show you a lot of the videos that are circulating, which are indeed false, and the context, the actual times and context in which those videos were taken. We also would like to make the point that the state takes very seriously any effort at this time to use misinformation to thwart efforts. And already a number of reports have been made to the police and the investigative agencies to find persons who are in the business of perpetuating this and bring them to book. We'll deal with that shortly, but the general picture is that generally people are complying. In the coming days, we will see a lot less vehicular traffic as they get a full grasp of the situation on hand. Now, the second matter that we want to deal with this morning is the provision for the homeless and the vulnerable. Shortly, I would invite the Minister responsible for social protection to assist us with a brief on that. But simply, very quickly, in Chi, the first part of our brief, Yeni Asrafo na Edike Din Komo, Brigadier General Insia, ana Acheche Mwache and say, Beye Donhuri Edu Nunuma Omufi Jumana Seno, Oma Bomodin say, Baby Bibria, Soja for near police for Wa, Omohema instructions I demand in us will be antinefi, ye disu nipa kakra na omo akwanya se ombeba kroma be bibi no omumra no monye ebio or science so aboy en kokose enkomo bebre koso se sojafo nam kromo obu nkofo ne ade na enye nokre de nokre wom ne se anye kra omunim se ba ko asia omohwe na omodi ehudwuma but generally no videos ni bebre anye nokra anopei yenya bra ye beda na de achemo. Honorable Minister, the vulnerable and the homeless are a cohort that we have been speaking about for a while now. We observed instances where the vulnerable, including Kayaye, have not been too clear on how they will be catered for during this period. The Honorable Minister for Social Protection and Gender, as I mentioned, and the Minister responsible for National Security have completed some work on measures to mitigate the impact of the restrictions on the poor and vulnerable. Honorable Minister, please join us with an update.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. The Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection has come out with mitigating measures to safeguard the health and well-being of the vulnerable groups in Ghana amid the coronavirus pandemic and subsequent lockdown of the affected areas of Ghana. That is Kumasi, Accra, Tema, and Kaswa. In view of the above, the ministry is implementing the following measures. We had meetings with COVID-19 Planning Committee, that's the National Security, NADMO, and the Ministry of Finance, updated the Kayaye data for visiting various marketplaces with their leaders. I personally went around the markets where we have most of our Kayaye to make sure that at least we have a forehand information on how things are going. Then we went to where they live, so at least we know that some of them are residents, they've rented little apartments and they live in, and we have those who also live on the streets. We have also visited some facilities where we think it's suitable to accommodate our brothers and sisters on the street. We have a few men, that is why I add brothers and sisters on the street. Those without place of abode, we are going to keep them for the 2 weeks that we have imposed these measures. We currently have like 15,000 of them that we are going to cater for. For those who have the apartments, we'll find ways of sending logistics to them to keep them away from coming to town. And for those that we are going to keep at the identified places that we have found, we are going to cater for them. There's going to be enough food, there's going to be enough water. We have corporate bodies cooking for like 6,000 and other group cooking like for 4,000. So all in all, we have enough food for them. We are also sending food to people on the street. We have like the mental retarded people. We are picking 20 and they are going to be cleaned. They are not going to come back on the street. 20 of them, the facility tells us that they can only take 20 and keep clean. And the others we are going to feed. So we are going to give them food every day. Give them food, give them water twice a day. We haven't thought of the breakfast yet, so we are still looking through. We have drinks and things, so we'll supply them with. And then the medical assistance that we can provide for them also. The food we are going to provide is going to be hot meal, and I will entreat if we can get the journalists go around and see exactly what we are saying, whether it's being complied. When we keep our brothers and sisters, we are not just going to keep them, we are going to train them on personal hygiene. Because those who came from Kumasi, from Ejusu yesterday, we realized that we need to train them on personal hygiene. how to use the sanitizers. We are providing 15,000 sanitizers. FBA came over to help us. Mimi is here. Mimi, thank you so much. They are providing them with 15,000 sanitizers. Sample is here. I'll show to you so that at least when we say they should wash their hands with soap and water and use sanitizers, we are not just saying it in vain, but we are providing for them. We are going to give them soap and water also. There are Veronica buckets on the compound where they are going to be kept, and make sure that we train them to do the personal hygiene. We are also going to train them on social distancing. It is something that is very important because we realize that they always cluster. So we have to teach them on social distancing, and that is something that we are going to take very seriously. By keeping them also, what we are going to do is that we have done a head count. We have the list already. We already have their data. But because some of them have moved before the ban, we cannot use that data. Otherwise, we are going to spend for nothing. So that is why we went around to collect the data on the ground, the people who are left behind. Those are the people we are catering for. We register them, give them identity. After everything, we are going to separate the younger ones from the older ones because some of them are really not supposed to be in town doing Kayo. A Kayo at 13 or 12. By the time that lady turns 25, what do you think would happen to her? And so for those younger ones, we'd let them go back home and go to school because we know that education is free now. So after separation, when we register them, we will not allow any younger lady to be a Kayo. We will only use the adults who are using it for work. That is their work. And then make sure that we do the screening for them, and then we make sure that they are healthy, even though they still want to be in that trade of Kayo. We are also going to do grooming and deportment for them. We have young ladies. Already we have 20 Kaye that we took from the streets who are now attending journalism, who are doing dressmaking, fashion design and all that. So we are bringing our trainers to come and train them. We are grooming these ones because we know sitting at one place for 2 weeks is going to be a little boring. So we'll make it exciting for them. After that, we do the separation. In Kumasi and Accra, where we are going to send the food, we are doing Nima, CMB, Malamata Market, Agbogloshi, Tema Station, because some of them live there. So we are doing the Circle, Tiptoe Lane, Pig Farm, Alajo, Accra, Newtown, Mamobi, exactly where we think they are. That is where we are sending the food. In Ashanti region also, we are doing same. We are doing Adiabeba High Tension, Moshi Zongo, Ayano, Moshi Zongo, Alaba, Subin, and in all we have Subin, Ship Market, Daba Station, and all that. We are providing them with food and water. And we are also screening them. Yesterday, we thanked Minister of Health. They were there to do the screening, take their temperature and make sure that if their temperature goes high, then they go for isolation and then they test them. But yesterday, we didn't get any sample of anybody's temperature going high. And so we think we are in the range. Today, when we pick them up, we are going to do the same. And we continue doing it until we are sure that none of them is a threat to the others, so that at least by the time they come out of where we are keeping them, we'll know that they are all safe. Minister, I think that's about all for them. We are also taking care of the people with disability. We have over 10,435 people with disability that we are also going to take care of. And then we are also taking care of the mental people that we have said. Director is not here. He would have given us the updates of those that we are taking. So basically, that is what we are doing. When we sit and there are any questions, we'll answer. Thank you very much.
Honorable Minister, thank you for that update. So in terms of feeding is being provided for. They are also being, or they will be given a daily stipend of how much? Okay. It will be good to put that figure out at some point in time, but they'll be given a daily stipend at some point. And then in terms of accommodation, you've identified places where we are very grateful. We will take some questions for the Honorable Minister. And then the toiletries and other sanitary items as well. Because as the President mentioned, the homeless and the vulnerable are a key cohort that we need to also respond to. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to the third part of our brief this morning, which is to, and that is the health brief. We want to give a quick update on case count and case management, but we want to start off with some clarification on the enhanced testing we've been talking about. You recall that on Sunday, when we provided a brief, we explained what we wanted to do by enhanced testing. Since then, there have been reports that government intends to do compulsory testing or mass testing in some areas, and it's important to really clear this up. Indeed, there are letters that are flying around that have been issued by some local teams suggesting that compulsory testing exercises are intended in their areas. For the avoidance of doubt, the government of Ghana just wants to update on what the enhanced testing program is. It has two parts. One, there are those who fall within the basket of what we call the contact tracing and testing. They are the persons who we know have come into contact with positive cases. There's a second cohort of that contact tracing and testing, which is made up of persons who came into the Ghanaian jurisdiction within a particular window. These are the persons that primarily we seek to trace and test. And already the engagements have started on how they can make themselves available for the testing while they are being traced. Teams have been trained across the country who are doing that, because not all of them are in Greater Accra and Greater Kumasi as well. Then two, and please let's take this clearly. Two, in the hotspot areas, there are some neighborhoods in which the Ghana Health Service and the surveillance team desires to do some more active surveillance. What that means is that visit homes, have conversations with people, have people develop temperatures here. Are there persons here who believe they have symptoms and therefore want to test? Because while you are generally saying you are tracing and you are testing and saying that if persons have conditions, they should call 112, there may be somebody in a particular neighborhood who has not even paid attention or has not heard. So that enhanced program allows them to go out into these neighborhoods in the hotspot areas and engage the community. And if there are persons who are what they describe as the at-risk population, then they can test such persons. So in ramping up the testing, it's not a compulsory test of everybody in the neighborhood or in these districts, because even logistically we can't do that. And we can't force people to test by compulsory testing. We can't do that. But we are pleased at the general compliance and support that we are getting, and we intend to use that for the second layer, that when they get into the hotspots, they will engage people in the general neighborhood and examine how these persons, if especially they are showing symptoms, etc., can also be tested. I think it's important that we have this clarity so that we don't cause more panic out there that there are people coming to do compulsory testing of everybody. It's important to get that clarification out there. So the enhanced testing has two cohorts. A, those who are in the contact tracing and testing bracket, that is those who've had contact with positive cases, and as a next layer, those who returned into the Ghanaian jurisdiction within that particular period of, I think, from the 15th coming forward, coming forward to about the 28th when we started the mandatory quarantine process. And then the second part is that in the hotspot zones, the neighborhoods will have some more active surveillance, during which period they'll have to test. Dr. Asiri, I hope I got it right. Dr. Abaji? Okay, so thank you. Now, a quick general update on case count and case management. The man who is superintending the entire exercise, the Honorable Minister responsible for Health, the Honorable Kukwaji Mamenu, will join us with that quick update. Honorable, let me let them sanitize the podium before.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, honorable ministers. I'll call all of you health workers as colleagues, the security people. We are all colleagues together now fighting coronavirus, disease 19. Let me do the case management first, because these are more intriguing figures that Ghanaians, I believe, want to know. We now have people in isolation and for treatment. For Ga East, a whole hospital that has been dedicated for this exercise. We have 50 cases on admission at Ga East. As of yesterday, new admissions that were put there were 5, and we discharged 7 from Ga East yesterday. So total number of discharges now stand at 38 discharges. These discharges are on home care. They have had first repeat tests, now waiting results. They are not ill. We've tested them negative. We've taken samples to do the second test, and we are waiting results. We've checked their homes. They can continue to observe self-quarantine as we continue to observe them. So they have been discharged to go home. We'll continue discussing and engaging them. The 79 we picked from the quarantined travelers. We have virtually transferred all those that were positive, with the exception of 1 person at Accra City Hotel. He was supposed to be transferred yesterday for triaging, and it's very likely that person may also be discharged even after we take him to Ga East for triaging. That means that all those that are quarantined, we've taken away the 79, so those who continue to be in the hotel are all negative. I have written letters to be sent to them on individual basis. The letters were personalized from the minister to each single one of them. We have thanked them for their cooperation and understanding. They are all negative. But by quarantine protocols, we have earlier informed them that they will stay the whole 14 days. And since the 14 days is getting closer, some have been there 10, 11 days, we will start taking samples for repeat tests on them today. We expect that between now and by Thursday, we'll have had their samples taken, tests done, results released, and by the 14th day, or early morning 15th day, all of them will be released to go home. I've assured them in the letters that I've sent to them that the Ministry of Health stands by to facilitate and assist them to take their luggage home when we discharge them after the 14 days. The government has supplied the coaster bus to aid staff transportation. This bus was delivered yesterday. A pickup has also been given to the medical superintendent at Ga East to enable him organize logistics and move around to make sure that the case management team, the doctors and their nurses are facilitated to do their work very well. We still have 4 cases on admission at Rage Hospital, the Greater Accra regional area. Repeat tests have shown still positive, so we continue to keep them there. The doctors have started giving them hydroxychloroquine 2 days ago. We started reviewing their situation. Anytime we get negative repeat tests, they also will be discharged. On mentioning hydroxychloroquine, I just want to inform the nation that the laws of our country allow the health minister to issue what we call emergency use authorization to FDA to allow or permit manufacturers and importers to bring in drugs that are not on our drug list. That exercise has been done. I've issued authorization, and FDA has, on that note, permitted some manufacturers in country to bring in the active pharmaceutical ingredients, APIs, or even import if they can source from outside, to augment the stocks we have in country. At the moment, we have enough stocks to take care of all the people we have on admission. 37 Military Hospital, we still have one case. Home care, I've told you we are discharging, and we have 20 from the regular community screening awaiting repeat test results. So when you are diagnosed positive and they start treating you and you are looking very well, to be sure, we continue to do repeat tests until you begin to show negative, then we stop observing you. But for now, those in home care are being observed. Doctors are talking to them, they are visiting them to make sure that they are taking their prescriptions. The total number of cases on home care in Accra are now up to 58. The 38 discharged and the 20 that have been discharged earlier. There are 2 patients we may release who have tested negative on 2 consecutive occasions, also in Accra. Kumasi South, there is no case on admission at the moment. The only case we have there opted for home care, and the doctors have allowed that, so he's also in home care. Konfanochi Teaching Hospital, there's 1 case on admission. Repeat tests showed negative, but later, I think on the 3rd test, it showed positive. They have put that person on hydroxychloroquine, and we are waiting results for repeat tests. Obuasi, the first case, there are 2 cases. For the first case, we are doing repeat tests, and it's showing negative. The second repeat test, again negative. So the doctors seem to have accepted that the person is cured now. For the second case, who was also in contact with the first case, tested positive. 12 contacts have been identified along that line, and they are in self-quarantine at the moment, also in Obuasi. Kumasi has 2 home care cases. 1 has been put on hydroxychloroquine. While there is 1 case, again home care, there is 1 contact with that person, and we are waiting test results. Tamale, there are 10 cases that may start treatment today. The Interior Minister is working with the Foreign Minister to try to see if these people can be taken back to their countries. They are all foreigners. But that process diplomatically has not been completed. And they are under order from the President to let them get back to their country. They entered our country illegally when borders had been closed. And so if you are found, definitely you have broken the laws and you have to be taken back to your country. UGMC, University of Ghana Medical Center, that is ready for use. Training has been completed. There are 14 beds for holding area and 14 beds for treatment. 5 ICU beds are also ready. So we have UGMC dedicated, again, some part of the facility to put in patients. Bank of Ghana Hospital. I kept on telling the community, the people in Ghana, that the Ministry of Health hasn't got direct jurisdiction over Bank of Ghana Hospital. and people were blasting that there are hospitals completed that will not be utilized and all that. We have had engagement with Bank of Ghana, and they have released 2 floors that will take care of 20 beds for our use. Because the facility doesn't belong to the Ministry of Health, Bank of Ghana has agreed that their own people and some VIP personnel will be allowed there. So in case we get some of you here, VIP people, we are likely to take you to Bank of Ghana Hospital. Why are you laughing? You are all VIP people. In this material, okay. So I'll underscore the fact that we are ready to take people in and make sure they are getting well. We are also arranging to disinfect areas that we quarantine people, and when we evacuate and the places become empty, we have made arrangements for serious disinfection to be done before we hand over the facility to the owners. Let me now move away from case management to look at why we have been asked to stay home. So the surveillance report for this morning. We have recorded 195 cases with 5 deaths. The number of regions reporting cases remain 5. Greater Accra, Ashanti, Northern, and Upper West. The Greater Accra region has the most cases, 174, followed by the Northern region, 10, Ashanti region has 9, Upper West region 1, and Eastern region 1. Most reported cases now are from routine enhanced surveillance activities. Cases from travelers under mandatory quarantine remain 89. That means that we have taken all their samples, we have got those positive and those negative are still in hotels observing the mandatory 14-day quarantine period. Cases from travelers under mandatory quarantine remain 89. That is Tamale 10, Accra 79. Whereas cases from routine surveillance currently stands at 106. Accra 95, Kumasi 8, Obuasi 2. As at 08 hours this morning, I'll summarize it in a tabular form. General surveillance 106, travelers undergoing mandatory quarantine 79 positive in Accra and in Tamale 10. So the total figures: recovered and discharged 38, discharged home management 49, those in treatment facilities 138, dead 5, so we have total reported cases 195. Let me go over again because it's very important the type of explanation my colleague and younger brother Koyo tried to explain. I will stress there is no policy as yet for compulsory mass testing that people are just parading and trading in on social media. If anybody amongst those managing COVID-19 team had gone on air anywhere or even on social media and had said that we are doing mass testing in some communities. Please, this should be corrected now. It is correct that we have teams that are working now in Accra and in Kumasi for what we call contact tracing. It's like those who have been tested positive. They had contacts with people. Those who traveled in country before the quarantine are already in the communities. We have got a tall list of them with their contacts, telephone numbers. And from the database that we have, almost all of them are in Accra and Kumasi with isolated cases across the country. These are the people we are trying to reach. And when we get to them, each of them, we will try to take samples from that person and transport for tests. But if we meet one of such people and he's living with a wife and children, maybe in a very good self-contained 2-bedroom or 3-bedroom house, they are also contacts. So there's a need to try to test the very immediate contacts that he has come in with. If he's living in a compound house, the tracers will ask questions. So those in the compound house who have had contact with that person definitely have contact, and they will also be tested. That does not mean that if you come and you are living in NT49 and all the people in NT49, about 5, your family people, have been tested, and that person and none of them had gone to NT48, we are not going to test anybody in NT48. That is the explanation. So the contacts will continue from contact to contact. But if you have not had any contact and they don't have evidence to suspect you, there will not be any sample taken from you. And that is not mass testing or compulsory testing. So we are only checking on contacts. So far, we have deployed several teams in Accra and Kumasi. They are working now. And people that are being contacted are cooperating very, very, very well. And we believe if you are able to do this exercise successfully, the chain that we want to break will get broken and we'll have no challenges in our country. That is the exercise we have mounted. The necessary materials and logistics that these teams need have been given. They are going around with security officials and immigration people and disease control officers in the districts, epidemiologists, the field officers. They are all part of the teams that are moving. And we believe that with your cooperation, things will be okay for us. We will continue to give updates on the type of numbers they are reaching up to. In Accra, we now have 140 teams in the areas that we have demarcated to actually trace people in. So far, between Monday and Tuesday, they had contacted 635 people, and 589 samples have been taken. They have all been sent to Noguchi. We have also started testing in Kolebu, the infectious disease reference laboratory. So the tests will now become a bit larger and results will come a bit earlier. In Kumasi, we have deployed 40 teams. They started a bit late yesterday, but they have contacted 160 people and they have collected 22 samples. We are pushing them to up their game today so that they can get closer to the targets we have set for them. Things are working for us. The good news is that some people are being contacted on telephone to try to find their locations, and they are also cooperating. Yesterday, somebody called me and praised government on the efforts that we have put in so far. The person came in earlier, before quarantine, He had been called on telephone, contacted, they've given her where she should go for her sample to be taken. She went there, they took her sample, and she was so happy awaiting the test results. Not just one isolated case. So the contacts can be physical, one-on-one, can be on telephone, but we request that Ghanaians should cooperate with us, and we believe we can break the chain and succeed in the efforts that we are making. The President is so solidly behind us. He's in almost every meeting the team attends. He's chairing the interministerial meeting committee that he has set up. And the old man is not sleeping. Thank you very much.
Minister, thank you for that quick update. Colleagues, I'll just ask you to pay attention to the further nuanced data that we have provided. I mentioned that we'll explain why we are nuancing the data some more. Because sometimes if you just take the ballpark figure 195 and you don't understand the categories, people actually even end up getting scared. And that's why as we go on, we try to nuance the data some more so that it creates context for us. So Ghana's case count as of this morning, as the Honorable Minister mentioned, is 195, but it's in different categories. The general surveillance proper in the population is 106. That is the general surveillance in the population as has been captured so far. Out of those 106, 3 have been discharged because they have recovered. What that means is that the tests have taken place and they have tested negative after treatment or after supportive treatment. So they are discharged and recovered. There's another category of discharged for home management. What, like the Honorable Minister mentioned, it means that they are no longer showing any visible symptoms. They don't appear sick or ill. They are going through the final bits of their treatment so that they can test negative finally. So you'll find that that's about 18. Then those who are in facilities but are responding very well to treatment, who we are hoping will be moved either home or discharged, recovered finally, that's 80. Unfortunately, we have lost 5 persons, and I think the context of how we lost them has already been provided. That's what gives us the 106. Now, in Accra, when the mandatory quarantine was introduced, a total of 79 persons tested positive. None of them at this stage has been discharged on basis of recovery. But 31 of them have now been moved home for treatment because the risk profiling shows that there are people who can be treated at home. 48 of them are being treated in facilities, but they are responding very well to treatment. None of them is critical, none of them is dead. That's how we arrive at the 79. In Tamale, the 10 persons who were put in quarantine and tested, none of them has been discharged on basis of recovery, none of them has been discharged for home management. But as at now, while we are waiting to complete the diplomatic protocol so that we can have them go back to their countries of origin to continue their treatment, they are currently responding to the levels of treatment that the doctors there are paying attention to. And I'll give some quick clarification on that, because the brief we have is that at the time they came into the jurisdiction, the borders had not been closed. And that is how come they were put in quarantine for, I think, 11 days, prior to which their tests and results came in. So Honorable Minister's brief is qualified accordingly. And then you come to the total. So that means 3 persons totally have been discharged because they have recovered. 49 persons have been discharged for home treatment, for the final bits of their treatment. 138 are in facilities, but are responding to treatment. We are very hopeful and optimistic about that. Unfortunately, 5 persons have died. That's how come we arrive at the 195. We have done this in response to public inquiries about why we should further nuance the data so that context is created. So, Honorable Minister, we are very, very grateful to you. We're also grateful for the policy clarifications. We are not doing compulsory testing or mass testing. It's an enhanced testing in some categories, and he has explained that. I want to thank the local teams that are assisting us in this exercise. As much as possible, we want to ask that you clear all local communication you are giving with the Ministry of Health and the Ghana Health Service, so that in terms of information and public expectation management, we do not get it wrong. Now, for persons who came into the Ghanaian jurisdiction from the 15th prior to the 28th, who now understand that they will form part of this, you are encouraged to call 112 and inform them as such, even if you haven't been reached, so that they can also schedule an appointment for you to be tested. Now, the enhanced testing has commenced. A few days ago, we mentioned that we, as part of this exercise, will be asking officials involved in frontline activities, such as government officials, to take tests too, as part of this enhanced testing. We have started with the president and frontline officials who are involved in this fight. And I would crave your indulgence to please pay attention to this. I want to invite the physician to the President of the Republic, Dr. Petrina Techi-Ankra, to handle this brief. This one is above my pay grade. Doc, one moment while they sanitize the podium.
Thank you, Honorable Oponkrumer. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. As follow-up to what the Honorable Minister has said, on a day before the President's birthday, we tested him, the First Lady, his daughters, and all the staff, all his household. And then I'm happy to announce that all the tests came back negative. A day after his birthday, we continued to test people in the Secretariat, including myself, because we tend to deal with him on a one-to-one basis. And as I speak now, a total of 99 people have been tested, and the results have come back negative. We are continuing this process, and as and when there is, we hope that everybody will test negative. I know the Ministry of Health and the Ghana Health Service are continuing the process. The President is, as much as he said, very hardworking, chairing a lot of meetings, staying up late. So I am on him to make sure that he's observing the social distancing. If any of you observe that he's not wearing the mask, which a lot of questions have been asked, he's observing the social distancing strictly, and then we're making sure that he's washing his hands very often, frequently, and then he is also using his sanitizers as well. Thank you. Okay, the Minister of Health says he's also done the test and he is negative.
Minister, I want them to test you again. Dr. Techi-Ankra, thank you for that update. So we have commenced the testing of frontline officers who are involved in this exercise. We started with the President, and many of us are also submitting samples as well. The Minister responsible for health has tested. He is negative as well. We want to encourage people to understand that it is not a very scary thing. Taking the test enables us to know your status and therefore assist you if you need to be assisted. May I quickly do a translation of some of the highlights into Twi, and then we'll deal with the final matter, which is the information contact center, and then we'll take your questions. Minister responsible for social protection, any gender ni ebidi nkomo. Yenuanoma omuni bebida, omuni bibidi. Sebi omo ya na omutrimu kom kakra nti obehu na ase onam kwan ho kakra. Sabre ya yese emanipa mpiepie ne ye omoden. Babia omo beda no ministry no enya kwanya anante mu ahwe babia dodo no beda ebi mu deda efie bi mu ene babia hodo omakohu kwan ya ombetumi ahwe om so ho wonoma na deda kwan ho no so no womo ne Ministry of Education ne aban nyuma ko aka no so ehwehwe babia yebetumi ede womo akwako da omaduane semmu womo ne agencies ni bi ne ankrankran nyuma ni bi so ebo homodin se yebehwe na sabre impo no yetumi ama omaduane ansana adwuma kakra omo beye akohomase kakra omo betumi ayede ahwe omo matumi ahwede aboa omo ebio akande bi ho omo hia se na yenyina ye kase yenyu sanitizer semina ensuo ni ade na enye omo nyina na ewo bi ebi mu ye yenuano mo ma bi mu hwe ni mfie so atumu se nkoye obaba nka yeye wadu ni mpani mfie so a ne aya yedi siesie ye ho bosome ni ade omso behia bi sabre ya shops ni ade ya totom no enti gender ministry no ehwe ma ya ni na omampani ahye omo se Answer na what you say enko na wie no momfa update emre no on enye de o makasa on beyo de o matumi aya ankasa the honorable minister and national security minister ehwe edi ho dwuma minister responsible for health so ebe kan ho no so ekirekire mu kire yen say edi kan sa nkomo say yesi ebe test obia was some areas ampo krata bi ababonten from the local level say ebe test obia no was say ekire mu kakra nye sa nete yesi test na ye ye pejam pejana ye pejam no egu ahodo mienu ba ko ye wono ma ye nim se omo ne obi a wanya bi enya nkita hodi a ono na wo se test na na so obi a otu kwan eba Ghana emse fiti be 15th no if you see 3rd ye eliminate flights no be 15th ho no na afi ye hwe saafo no ye nimo ma ye from medi o machi se omo mram be test se mpo wo kan mo etu kwan ba ye no ho na se ye mfrɛ wa utumi frɛ 112 na omo maso te se o kan obi na omo ekire kwan abetumi afa so na yetumi atesto ansana so omo ba bia ye nya obi a onya yare ni bia yasanso adi nkomo wo ho ahwe e wo mpotem ho se oni nkofo bi enya nkitahudi a ebi ono de onte se dogo bi no abekra but oni nenya nkitahudi ni ehu kwan ebetumi afa so na nkono so ya test no so obi so wo ho ebi a ne ho dodo no ana bibia sa abre so ye test na ye no na ye ka ho asem ne nka se by force ye ba be test obi a wo sam potamote ye hye mo se moma obi a entiase man ye nuanom so ebo ayen wo form ne ye hye mo se abribia mo the information call out mo ne Ghana Health Service any Ministry of Health eni hu komo no mo claim ma mo na confusion bia amamu ewo eho ansana ye kasa as part of testing ye fear say test even aban penimfo a eboa okun we say minister odi anim Dr. Abuaje, Dr. Bedusa akode se du be kwen me amegina he o man pani na bedi e chempanimfo a edi hu dwuma nyina ye fi ase so test wo msan se yen so ne nkofo koba o man pani doctor ne begina se Dr. Petrina e no che se o man pani na nkasa ne enipa eduokunu wotwe a wo na so ye ho 98 persons ansa no man pani na nkasa kan ho ye 99 o ma test a o nyina eye negative ye koso ya test no na ye make sure say impo yemu no bi wo mu a yetumi ehu na yaboa no colleagues one last thing senior ichirechire mu no nipa oha ene ediokunu enum ena sabre ye hu se o ma test positive miensa de omho atom ema ya mo kofie edionan enkunu 49 yama omu kofi a ye hwom so ofie ye kire mu saa ema obi ate ase omu kofi a ye hwom so ofie kakra bi na omho atom kra nti omu de yama omu kofi a ye hwom so e ofie oha eni eduasan wotwe 138 omu wo facilities mu be a hospital ne ade a ye hwom a omu so doctor for nani age senia omu nhweye no e kɔ nanim ye bɔ mpa se enche bi omu so ebetumi yi omu akofie mpose krakra omho atom enum ena sabre yahwere ye bom pae se ebi embeka ho ye stress o mampani se obi antena fie sa na wotwe mienu we wutena fie a enka beboa asojafo no so a kire yen se omso peja omne ma ne mu enya de omo bebobo obi by heart ewokrom onipa omo egitum se ode ne sa aka obi anka ni se ode ne sa aka no omo yi na fie operation ni mu a omo eye ho hwehwemu na de ebesi bia no ombe ma yaso ate. I want to quickly go to the last matter for this morning's brief. To facilitate clarity in information flow to citizens on COVID-19 and related matters, the government of Ghana is this morning deploying a National Information Contact Center. Now, colleagues, we have already announced the use of the National Emergency Contact Number 112. So you call 112 if you feel like you're having symptoms and you need to be tested. You call 112 and we'll do well to send somebody to you or direct you to where you can go take a test. We also ask those who are making prank calls on 112 to stop. We have started blocking people who are making those prank calls. We need to free those lines so that people who have genuine cases can get through. But in addition to 112, which is for those who have symptoms and need to be tested or those who fall within the categories of tests, we are this morning announcing the contact number 311. 311. 311 will offer the following services. One, it will provide information to the general public on COVID-19. So anybody who needs general information on COVID-19, you can call 311. Two, If you need real-time clarification on the imposition of restrictions, you can call 311. 3, we have sent out a lot of PPEs across the country. If you work in a health facility and you want to give us some feedback on the status of PPE in your health facility, you can give us a call on 311, and then we can feed back to those who are distributing. If it's locked up at the regional level or maybe it's at stores or whatever, then we have quick feedback and then we can attend to it. And 4, during this period of restrictions, especially observations of the restrictions or the lack of observations that you want to draw attention to, you can call 311. Those lines are active as at now. It is my understanding also that a WhatsApp interface has also been made available. The number to that interface is 0555 311 311. 0555 311 311. That is a National Information Contact Center to provide you with information or to take feedback from you on the COVID-19 matters. But if you need to get tested, 112 is the number that you call. Quickly in tree, Yama number back 112. Say, do not per se test or answer utu kwan ba enche na per se test or yes say obefre sa number no na a doctor for ne ade wahwema yetumi abo ama wa test. Apart from sa 112, you the number back so to abontiano pe no 311. 311 pacho tie ni. So person oti bibia say about yare we about to me for 311. Say yes you obi antena fie no bibi kire wadwen na person oti ase out to me for 311. So we adwuma medical facility bi sabre ya ye de PPEs bebre abai ya che e wo ma obete se yes obi si o wa ha onya bia na se ne de na short wa na se den yes stress obetumi ama feedback na ye de ama wonuma ehwe ache materials no no mahu se bia wo ho no problem o ha na se problem ni wonti feedback on PPEs and also to me my asote and sana se bibi koso wo mpeso aso sabre ya yes you be antina fi ya pese ya sote and so to me for 311 e be stress one of my phone lines ni diagro no ni nyina munya anya se be fi ase block if fi ase kra ye block wo ho na inja lines na ma wo ma ehia pa wa simbika no ometumi ma yaso ate. Colleague, that brings us to the end of our brief. We'll take questions now in various languages. The various directors are here to help us. May I ask them to set up the microphone so that we can take the questions. Please do well not to touch the microphone so that we can take your questions. Yes, Chief. Please step forward. And then I know there are questions on the press pool platform. We'll take them at some point. Yes, sir.
Thank you. My name is Fresh Smith. The Honorable Health Minister mentioned that there are 10 persons in the northern region who tested positive and will start treatment today. The information we had yesterday was that one had escaped. Do we still have 10 who are being treated? And also yesterday we heard a number of trotro drivers had been arrested for plying the roads. We'd like to get some explanation as to why, because we heard Brigadier General mention that they are intensifying their clampdown. So if it's the plan, what is the plan in place for those who have to do something in town and will need commercial transport? Thank
These are trotro drivers who are arrested for, or vehicles that were stopped for not observing the social distancing, correct?
Well, I don't know the reasons because there were various reasons assigned for the arrest, and so...
Okay, I'll let him respond to it later. Brigadier General, please be on standby to respond to that one for us.
Yes, sir. I'm Bernard Atuata from UTV.
I'm
Bernard Atuata from UTV. Per se, find out fee, yeah, mommy. Areas now, she will visit, data no saying on my date of disability was 10,435. I perceive you kai for the nefe. And she say, yeah, or person the two aquam at the mom say after near you go through, between a dium, no my age, Yahumberson, your conqueror, your Acadiano, say between the show. Just like okay, willingly, and now move yes or no, and no person we are not between me. Okay, your sisters and your brothers, your perception.
Okay,
I feel you chat to no only Deputy Communication Minister about now, almost sure union say, almost bema money on my Ufakasa, because now share on Mudimi now I say Shrubi and I said now of a panaba said Ibecufi or my four film so Munkofi, but yes, someone on Becassa and also a question.
And to say almost fee baby a bank crying on the dark one as some person more Yamo Mancono. And common saying it.
Senebema, Abusia so pay or Medina out to me say Abusia so come to.
Okay.
And almost so come to.
Okay. Matthias, Chief, let's take your final one and then we'll take first round of response.
All right, thank you very much. I'm Selom Amenya with TV3. We want to find out how many tests we've been able to do so far, the total tests that we've been able to do so far. And also, we've had figures being bundled about that we have only 80 ventilators, some say 100. Can we have clarity to the number of ventilators we have? And then the status of the 50,000 PPEs that the president ordered for. And also to
50,000 test kits.
Test kits,
not
yes.
PPEs.
Yes, test kits.
Okay, 50,000 test kits.
Test kits, yes.
Yeah.
And then to the gender minister, I want to find out how much the stipend is, and then what are they going to use it for? Because if they are being camped and they have everything available, why that? We also picked information that some districts are going to do a total lockdown. That's IOSO, and then Wejagbawe. I don't know if we can have clarity on that.
No, I mean, as for that one, I can tell you for a fact that one is not true. Okay, so it is not true that some districts are going to do a total lockdown. It is not true. I think the communication, as we've mentioned, those are the local level who are giving information. We pray them to liaise it with the policymakers at the top so that we don't speak across purposes. What is happening is enhanced testing in these areas, and we've been at pains this morning to explain. Minister of Health, I will invite you to speak to the 50,000 test kits where we are. Dr. Boaji, I will invite you to speak to how many ventilators do we have within the Ghanaian jurisdiction. And maybe you want to nuance it between in the public sector and the estimate also in the private sector so that we have clarity. How many tests so far? Dr. Bedusa Akode, please be on standby to answer that for me. Gender Minister, if you join me, how many KIAs or homeless people are you looking at in general? What about those who are apprehensive and want to go home? I think those questions are in three. Oma, person a coffee and then you be catch on a bush and force was abre, oma come to or baby or more than I be catch on. And sana, who are candia, near my house after we open so you know. Who are candia opposite Odiana, Finance Minister Mouse Casafayana, Pachobra. Intebra first, after I will do it.
Question I'll be said when I was stranded or better when you want to fakasa. Minister of Communication ended down 15 phones. Credit what that in so when you want my memory kasa won't you account. In then Obia or assets though on your neighbors for Becassa won't you no be an akumatonium. Intene yakadi about your educating one send the Henry and Norman Bebre one tassi when you mawaba. What's more be and cook room? I often also want to answer since America and Mekade, Yabemo on education. Nimpa, Henry and Kayo, whom we are looking at 15,000, Mekan Ebi and Nancy, 15,000, and breakdown the younger ones home. Na Ebisade, on our own, Ebinwaha, Yan markets one tomb, markets in Webway, in Tinobu, Bepe and Nankasa, and answer a cook room. Ebin Wokita 1 pound, was walk or go make it to go and Wabanu ban. You realize that the honorable Kojo Ponkruma be some descanoya Hinmanka because ye data no catching the we are Yabama, Obie, or Yampa. Say data and answer is Kasama and Shen ye and if you are overbloated. In ye tread cautiously. No one yet a yam will be sky, yam will be a banity. Yes, your situation may sort it. All said and done, a Basana Bahabioni Abamahon briefing how it went. Which is in the answer questions and in a way. Master, will be a question. Are you okay with the answers? You're okay. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Honorable Minister, yeah, there was 1 year as my hand. Honourable Minister, please join me. 50,000 test kits, where are we now? One person was reported to have escaped. Do we have him back?
Thank you, Kojo. 50,000 test kits was what the President ordered us to bring in. As I speak, we have received a little over half of the quantities. We have placed orders for all of them, and we are still awaiting delivery. We believe we will not find short of test kits in course of the period. We have adequate now to test all those samples that we take. We are taking deliveries from time to time in short intervals, and we believe by close of the week or early next week, we might have received all the 50,000 test kits. Could you let me try the ventilators? At the beginning, we did an assessment, and between Ghana Health Service and the teaching hospitals and some private facilities, we had about 48 already in our hospitals. Then we ordered for 67. Then we ordered for 50. Out of the 50, I received 20, and the rest are waiting airlift to come into the country very, very soon. So 67 plus 20 gives us, plus private sector, altogether about 200 at the moment. So we have ventilators. But the good news is that none of the patients we have has been put on ventilator yet. So we are okay with the stocks that we have. SKP. The Tamale SKP, we are still searching for that patient. We haven't found him, but we haven't taken him off the number of 10. So we are very optimistic that we can track that person and bring him back for treatment. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. So just to go over, the count shows that we have 67 ventilators in the public sector, and an extra order has been made for 50, which will move us to about 117 in the public sector alone. But 20 have arrived now, so 67 plus 20, that puts us as 87 now in the public sector. But when you add what is in the private sector, in private facilities, that brings us to about 200 ventilators currently. So assuming we had critical cases that needed ventilators, we would have about 200 currently to deal with, even while we wait for the other about 30 or so to come in. Honourable Minister, thank you for that quick update. So how many tests have been conducted so far, out of which we have about 190?